everybody, and welcome to Club Preview here on Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. Before I introduce my guests, just want to say I think some of you may have seen on the socials earlier this week that Scott, unfortunately, his sister has passed away earlier this week, and obviously, as you can understand, he's really devastated by this, and I know he's got a wee message that he'd like to play to all the listeners. So, Ali, if you could set that up and play it for us, please.
Hello everyone, Scott here, just here with a wee message and a message of thanks more than anything else for the unbelievable support, the unbelievable understanding of every single one of you, and the messages that I've received have been amazing, genuinely amazing, and really means the world to me. For those that don't know, and the reason for my absence is my family received pretty devastating news on Tuesday night that I sadly lost my sister. So yeah, it's been a very tough couple of days to say the least. So for just now, things happen in life sometimes that put things into perspective, and I need to take some time away. I need to be there for my family, and I also need to look after myself, get my head straight a wee bit, because it's not been particularly easy. But however, the messages that I have received don't half help. I am so proud of the wee community that we have, and it really shows the support that you have shown me, the messages you've sent me, the understanding that you have for this just shows why our wee community is definitely like no other. I will be back, of course I will be back, but I don't really know when. And again, I don't want this to sound like a dig, because it isn't, but I do the majority of the behind the scenes work for the pod. It's not just as easy as me training somebody up and passing it all over. It simply isn't going to work like that. So for just now, it will remain a show a week just now, and it'll probably be the Friday night show, the live show, the one you're currently watching. It will be that one, because it's much more simple to do it that way than do it any other way. Last but very much not least, I have to give a huge thank you to the lads that want to continue to do this in my absence. It's fantastic by them, and to be honest, I wouldn't expect anything else. 3 genuine guys that are there for me as well. So yeah, that's it really. Just thank you again from the bottom of my heart. I can't thank you all enough. Enjoy the rest of the show, and I will be back. I just don't really know when yet. So again, just thank you. That's all I can really say is thank you, and I'll speak to you all very, very soon. Enjoy the rest of the show. Cheers everybody.
Yeah, so pretty devastating news there for Scott, and like he says in that message there, he's just going to take the length of time that he needs to make sure that him and his family are all fine. And again, just send our best wishes to Scott and his family, and to the friends of his sister as well. Really no easy way to move on from that, but we're here to sort of preview the upcoming Aberdeen game and have a wee look back at the Napoli game. Also just like to give a wee shout out to John Lammy, who bought the club at 22 some coffees through Buy Me a Coffee link, which you can all get through the wee button on the YouTube channel. But let's introduce the panel for this evening. Then first up, Ali Pearson, how things with you?
Yeah, it's not been a great week, Scotia, to be honest. My condolences go out to Carney and his family. Obviously, but his sister, it's tragic, obviously. So, yeah, but it's good to see that the Club at 22 community, there's a blooper right away, Club at 22 community have came together and supported Scott like that. So it's been fantastic, and obviously we'll be there for him. We wanted to do the show tonight. Scott did say we could put it in the back burner till he's ready to come back, but us lads here wanted to keep it going for him, because he's grown this himself, let's be honest about it. We're on his backup for him, so we wanted to keep it going for Scott and for all the folk tuning in every Friday to see us. So hopefully we can do him some justice tonight, and obviously going forward. Sorry about the blooper as well. We're not Heart and Hand. We are Club at 22, the Rangers podcast.
No, well, at least, I mean, you did give everyone a wee bit of a smell there, obviously, after that hard start. So, and it wasn't me doing the blooper either, thank God.
Yeah.
The other guy on the panel tonight, as you all aware, is Mr. Ryan Haymarch. How are things with you, Ryan?
Good, mate. I'm good. Just want to echo what Ali said there. Condolences to Carney and his family. Dropped him a wee message, but I don't think there's really much you can say to people. He's going through a lot at the moment as his family, but he knows that we're all there for him, and I know that he's, as he said in his video messages. I think he's overwhelmed by the support he's had through social media and the community we've got here, not a heart and hand at Club at 22. So, I think it's no easy way to kind of move on from that. And just apart from saying condolences to Carl and his family, I'm certainly thinking about them.
Indeed, yes. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of looking at Rangers. And unfortunately, it's a Rangers team that aren't really doing much to lift anyone's spirits at all. We were obviously away down in Napoli on Wednesday evening there. I think everyone was fearing this game, given how good Napoli have been playing. Best team in Europe, really, in terms of what they're doing at the moment. Top of the Serie A, flying in Europe. I mean, putting 6 past Ajax and things like that. So I was really going into this fearing it. I don't know about you guys. I mean, obviously, Ali, you and Carney had done the Club Deck Corner on Tuesday evening there about it, and I don't think you were going into it with very much confidence, but get beat 3-0 in the night. What were your kind of thoughts overall?
I think everyone had the fear going into that game against, like we said, the informed team in Europe at the moment, going for their record, 12 wins in a row, which they did get against us. I did say that Christmases came at once when it was Rangers that were playing to get that record. So. but no, everyone thought it was going to be a cricket score, Scotia. Especially when we went two goals down early doors, you thought, with the track record we've had, especially against Liverpool, are they going to crumble? And you need to give them some sort of credit in terms of they didn't crumble. I actually think Rangers' performance in the Champions League this season has been woeful. But their best performances out of those woeful performances have actually came against Napoli at Ibrox and probably away at home. I do think though, Scotia, when we were watching it, when Napoli went 2 up, I thought they went back down the gears again. I thought they were in kind of cruise control at that point and kind of let us have the ball because they knew we weren't going to hurt them, Scotia, and it kind of panned out that way, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, we'll go in through bits and pieces of the game and we'll have a wee bit of a deeper discussion in them. But yeah, I was the same as you. I was honestly fearing an absolute scudding. And I do think there was a kind of wee feeling throughout that game that if we'd done anything during that game, I had visions of like David Neri scoring against Brazil and just winding them up and then letting them run rampant and absolutely scudding us. But I was fearing that. What were your thoughts overall in the game, Ryan? Did you manage to see any of it?
I didn't know. As you know, I was so that's me out the flat now. So this week's been pretty full on with packing things up and whatever. So, and I also had the boys on Wednesday night, so it was a very packed evening. But I did stick the game on for the first couple of minutes. Ali was texting me the lineup as well, so I was surprised to see Yilmaz and Morelos starting. Probably a good thing that he started them both just to give them an opportunity. But I think I've seen them for 5 minutes, and it might just be the kind of way things have been going, but we just looked so slow and so just lethargic and lacking energy again. I don't know whether it's fitness or not, but just that 5 minutes I saw, I was like, this is going to be the same old story. As soon as Napoli get the ball, they were up the park in 2 or 3 passes. I did see, I think it was the second goal where the ball gets played. Ben Davies leaves his man. I don't know if he's trying to play offside or not, and the boy just half volleys it past McGregor. Napoli are a top quality side. I would say they're an outside chance of winning that if they keep playing the way they're playing, because they are a magnificent team to watch. And I know the rest of the few players, but I think one of my favourite players they have is the boy in the middle. Is it Labotka? Is that what you call him? The wee baldy guy. I think he's Slovenian. I think he's a brilliant player. He's a joy to watch, but not the result I expected. If I'm being honest with you, I thought we would probably get 5 or 6 put past us. But when I say that, I'm not happy with 3-0. I don't think I'll look at that and go, that's a positive. But the manager seems to think that it was a positive, but I can't judge on the performance because I didn't see it. But I know Harvey and Toby, my boys, were sitting through the living room and watching it, and they basically said to me at half-time, can I put the PlayStation on, Dad?
We didn't have that luxury, Scotia.
No, it would have been great if they had a PlayStation in the pub. That would have been ideal. But No, Ryan, you mentioned the starting lineup there, and we started with McGregor, Tav, King, Davies, Yilmaz, midfield of Lundstrom and Sands, with kind of front four, Wright, Tillman, Kent, and Morelos. See, I mean, obviously, barring the fact that Tav, Lundstrom, and Kent are not playing particularly well right now, but when I seen that team, I was like, that's quite a bold team selection, Ali, by Gio, particularly when you're going away. I know, obviously, they didn't have Napoli didn't start with Osmien, and they also didn't have that. I'm still going to call him Kvaradona because I can't say his proper name, but both of them were on the bench. But that was still quality in that team with Rui and Raspadori and the likes of that. But what did you make of your starting lineup?
Yeah, I thought it was quite attacking. I mean, I said he would play. I thought he would play Barisic, so I actually forgot Yilmaz was playing when I seen the lineup, Scotia, until I looked again and went, Chris, Yilmaz is playing, because you just expect Barisic to be there. Another one I thought was Arfield would be over Tillman. Scott Wright, I thought he would play, because we needed an out. We've got the out ball with Ryan Kent one side, we needed one on the other side, so that's why I thought he'd play Scott Wright out there. But yeah, I thought it was a positive team, as positive as we can be at the moment in terms of what we've got to work with. But I've said it. I said it to Carney when we done our show the other night last week, and I don't know what Ryan thinks, but see the fitness of this Rangers team at the moment. I just think we're miles off it. I said to Carney last time, look at us last season. Remember the game we went, and this was the example I use. We played Braga at Ibrox. We went into extra time. The next game was Celtic at Hampden. We went into extra time and we looked a fitter team. I remember Bassi going down, playing a ball, and Sakala was the goal that went in. We just looked a fit team last season. And you look at us now and we just look a shadow. We just look so off the pace. And there's so many. You go through all the players, Scotia, from Tav to Lundstrom to whoever else, miles off it. So I would wonder if Ryan sees it the same way I'm seeing it at the moment in terms of the fitness levels. Do you think we are miles off it for last season?
Yeah, it's a good point, actually, Ryan. And this is something that was brought up in the press conference today. Actually, I know we normally speak about the press conference for Aberdeen match when we're previewing Aberdeen, but as Ali brings up, we may discuss it now. Gio was asked during the press conference today about Rangers' fitness levels. And Gio came out and said that they've not changed anything in terms of the regime that they do from last season. He did kind of mention that obviously with the sort of brought out, not an excuse, but a slight excuse, that given the way the Champions League's getting played, because it's condensed to manage to get the World Cup in, that this was having an impact. But I'm kind of in Ali's camp. I don't know about you, but does seem to be a issue with fitness in the squad right now, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's an easy one to miss because it's the same. It's always the same when the results aren't going our way. Everyone's getting it. The coaching staff will get it. The board will get it. The ball boys will get it. Formation, tactics, players, energy, commitment, everything. It's a scattergun approach from the support, and it's just frustration. But if you do kind of look at the fitness levels, they don't look great. Injuries aside, they still don't look great when they start 11 are on the pitch. You don't see those energy levels as you were speaking about that we saw last season. What I think's, I mean, it's Gio saying that about the Champions League, etc. And again, a bit of a cop out for me. I'm sorry. There's other teams playing in the Champions League. We're not the only team playing in Europe, and I don't buy into that. What I do remember this is Gio and his management team's first pre-season this year. This is their first one. He came in halfway through the season last year, so this is their first pre-season. And I remember Arfield speaking to the press or to Rangers TV about how the pre-season was going, and he said, "Yeah, it's really different." He said because we're doing a lot more ball work, and it's a lot less running, and that sticks in my head a wee bit from that conversation, because at the time I thought that's a good thing. That's a good thing they're doing ball work, so they can get used to each other and what patterns of play and their style and what they're going to bring to the season. But now when you look back, should they have been kicking a ball the first couple of weeks of the pre-season when everyone else is getting their fitness levels up and doing the bleep tests, etc.? And it does look as if they are struggling with their fitness. So yeah, for me, it's it's more than a huge concern because we're only at November. They've got a lot of months to go before this season's over and a lot of football to play. And yeah, we keep thinking to ourselves it'll be good if we get to the World Cup and we keep the gap like this and they can all get a rest. But see, really, Scotia, they shouldn't need a rest. It's only November. They should be at the peak at the moment.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's really how our success in Europe over the last few seasons and for the 55 season as well was kind of built on how fit our team was. I mean, we weren't getting to the Europa League final if it wasn't for our fitness. That was a big factor in us getting there last season because we could go out and play these, what was it, the 180 minutes against Leipzig and then straight into the 120 minutes against Celtic or extra time, wasn't it? So, yeah, it's for me, the fitness thing, just looking from the outside in, you know, and my take on it is that there's definitely a wee bit of an issue there, that something's quite not right. I seen someone speaking about something completely different today on Twitter. I think he'd brought up a quote by Fabio Capello speaking to Andy Roxburgh about not being able to do ball work with players in Scotland because of the weather and things like that, and it was all about getting your fitness levels and things like that. And he was putting loads of examples in, and he came up with the thing that basically the further north you go, it's more about fitness needs to be a bigger kind of example to look at because that'll help you because you don't have the ability to get these ball playing players to the levels of Brazil and like Italy and your Mediterranean countries. But I suppose that's a whole discussion in itself, that really. But yeah, and back to the Napoli game then.
Scotia, sorry to interrupt. Just before we go off, it's been interesting to see if any guys in the comments or yous agree with us. Like, I think that I always praised Gerrard's team for was how organised off the ball. I think they're the best off the ball Rangers team I've seen, if that makes sense. Like when the opposition had the ball, I always felt as if Gerrard's team was set up really well off the ball and the pressing was really good and the kind of hunting packs. And I don't see that at all with Van Bronckhorst's side, whether he doesn't want them pressing or whether the fitness levels aren't there. But would you agree? Do you see that's one of the big differences between Gerrard and Van Bronckhorst's sides?
Yeah, I think so, and I think a lot of that it's probably a combination of both. That the way that Gio's setting up to play isn't the pressing style that Gerrard and Beale had their teams playing in. Whereas there was some games that we played under Gerrard and Beale where certain periods they were pressing at the correct times and just flooding teams out. Whereas Gio's team seems to be a wee bit more one kind of yard further back and just soak up things a wee bit more. Ali, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I totally agree with Ryan. I think we're quite lazy out of possession, the Rangers team. And you can see teams will just pass through us. Even teams lesser than us. I mean, Livingston, their first goal, Ibrox last Saturday, some of the goals you can see are just too easy because I think they're too lazy off the ball. I agree with it. And you don't see that was a big thing of Gerrard's team was the hunting in packs. The Rangers lose the ball, they go and they get it back. Similar to how Celtic play a wee bit. We don't do it. We lose the ball. We just don't do it at all. Again, is it a fitness thing? I don't know. It's just another thing in a long list of things you point at Gio at the moment in terms of we don't know his style of football. We still don't know it. And he's been here, a year at least? Just over a year. And yeah, we go in tomorrow. I've obviously will come to Aberdeen soon, but they need to hunting packs to get the ball off tomorrow and be up for it because there'll be an Aberdeen team smelling blood tomorrow. I'm telling you that. But obviously we'll come on to that. So I don't want to jump too far ahead, Scotia. I don't want to do what I usually do, throw me down that road. I wouldn't be like that all around, would it? So sorry, back to Napoli.
No. So in fact, actually talking about the press and stuff, we can kind of group, I think, these two goals that Napoli scored in the 11th and 16th minute kind of together because they're very similar goals. The first goal comes from Di Lorenzo out on the left, crosses a ball in to Simeone, who splits the kind of defence of Davies and Kings there and then knocks it past McGregor to make it 1-0. For me, Kent and Sands out on the left-hand side here, he expands to Kent and you can just see him very slowly off the ball, not doing that kind of press that you would maybe expect to see. Sands as well having to pull out and maybe should be doing a wee bit better there. And then for the second goal, opposite side of the pitch, but Marco Rui just whips the ball in to Simeone to head it in. And again, Scott Wright should probably be doing a wee bit more for that one. I did see on Twitter after the game, Ali, that a fair few people were criticising the centre halves, and I think we at the pub at the time we probably did as well. But looking back at it, there's not really much more that those pair could do. I think it's more stopping those balls coming in. Don't know what your thoughts were.
Yeah, you've got to stop the cross at the source. That's been our Achilles heel this season. You look at your goal against, I'll go back to Livingston again. Tav letting that boy shouldn't be able to put that ball in. It happens a lot this season with Rangers where boys are able to just whip balls into our box. And as soon as they do that, well, we know what it is. It's panic stations at times. Yeah, I thought for the first goal, young King could have probably done better, to be honest. But the ball shouldn't be as easy to put a ball into our box, basically. We should be putting more pressure on these teams. But it just symbolises what Ryan was just talking about there in terms of the pressing and what I was saying. I just think we're lazy off the ball. And it's another area where we're vulnerable this season.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan, I think you'd seen one of these goals, but if you'd seen one of them, then you'd seen both of them because they were both very similar, but it's a concern.
Yeah, it's a huge concern. And the crossing into the box it's funny because, well, it's not funny. It's our strength attacking as we look to get the ball to Borna and cross it, and it looks as if that's the only attack that we do at the moment. But that is one of our kind of our stronger points of our attacking game, whereas the kind of Achilles heel, as Ali puts it, is crosses getting into our box, and it does look so easy. Like, I don't feel Tav or whoever is out the right hand side is doing the job, but you see so many crosses, and this isn't just this season, guys. I think this has been going for a while where we aren't stopping crosses coming into the box. We know how we lost that Europa League final, and it was a similar kind of goal, I believe, if I remember. I did see it, but I think it was a ball over from the left, and King and Sands get caught with a boy in the middle, didn't he? And he just put it past McGregor. So, yeah, it's a concern, and it's something that it was highlighted last year. You've seen the problems we had last year with it, with balls getting put into the box, and again, this management team haven't looked at a problem and addressed it, or the board as well, whoever you want to blame, or collectively the both of them. So it's no surprise that we're still suffering from these types of goals. It won't change until we change the personnel, unfortunately.
Yeah, so I mean, that's 16 minutes, they're 2-0 up. I am absolutely fearing. I'm like, no, this is where they're going to turn the screw and absolutely annihilate us, because the Napoli fans in the stadium looked like they were well up for it. And remember, turning to you, Ali, when they were doing the Champions League music was playing, and there was the wee kind of mascot guy that was just sniggering away, and you thought, he knows what's coming here, doesn't he? Yeah, because just 4 minutes after that, actually, and Numbeli cracks the crossbar, and he's unlucky not to make it 3-0. Another couple of chances for Napoli throughout that half that McGregor does.
Oh, there's Scotia's Wi-Fi, God. Oh, that's shot call. His dad's not cycling quick enough, is it?
Oh, sorry, I'm here. I'm here, don't
you
worry.
Might be back now, Scotia.
I'm back now, sorry. I was saying that Napoli made another couple of chances. McGregor done well enough to save them. But on the 42nd minute, John Lundstrom gets booked for the stupidest foul that he can ever make, and that means that he'll miss the Ajax game. Now, I was pretty annoyed with this, Ali, because Lundstrom's done this a few times now. I think it was the Liverpool game down at Anfield. He'd been booked and he'd nearly pulled someone back and would have get sent off for it, but he needs to kind of cut this out, I think.
Yep. What was the game he gets sent off? And we were all raging for him. He'd done similar fouls. Remember that?
Alishkert, was it?
Probably, I think it was. It was. It was. Ufa, Scotia, Christ.
No, it wasn't that.
No, it was Alishkert. And we all turned around and we went, that's stupid. A stupid sending off. And that was a stupid booking because the boy's going nowhere. I've seen a lot of folk, some folk in Twitter saying, he did it deliberately because he doesn't want to play against Ajax next week. I don't believe that for a second, but it's daft for Lundstrom. And again, he's just another one of these guys that's going through the motions this year. Lundstrom, miles off it, sums him up at the moment. That's daft. And he's an experienced player, Lundstrom. He shouldn't be doing that. He knows he's on a booking. So for missing the game on Tuesday. So I was stupid for Lundstrom. But maybe a week out of team will be good for him in terms of missing Tuesday. So it might be a benefit for us.
I mean, obviously you didn't see this, Ryan, but it's one of those fouls is fine to make when you're actually stopping an attacking play when it's going to be a threat. But there's been a few occasions for me that Lundstrom's doing it when there's no need to do it. And it's frustrating. It looks like a guy that's kind of not giving up the ghost. That's far too harsh, but kind of that knows that he's not playing well at the moment.
He definitely does know he's not playing well. I think his body language gives that away, Scotia. I'm glad you mentioned that the type of foul, I didn't see it, but the type of foul John Lundstrom is very good at giving away is that professional foul where Rangers lose the ball and the opposition are in a counter-attack and it's going to be a dangerous counter-attack. 9 times out of 10, John Lundstrom's the man that makes a foul that you need to make. You need to stop them playing. You need to get somebody just to take a card. I don't believe, by the way you guys are talking, that's what's happened on Wednesday. It sounds like a bit of petulance from him, but silly play. John Lundstrom, thankfully, will get a rest on Tuesday. Unfortunately, it's through a suspension, but he's absolutely dead on his feet. He's dead on his feet, and yeah, it's he's been well off it. He's been well off it this season compared to the standards that we know he can lift to, and he is one who I really hope will come back after the World Cup and show something, because yes, he was good last season, but nobody's undroppable, nobody's untouchable in that team for me at the moment, and a good John Lundstrom is an asset to that side, but at the moment he's way off it.
Yeah. So just before half time, and I'm going to group this in with another couple of chances that he had, is slack pass by Napoli in the sort of centre circle. I mean, Scott Wright picks it up and slips in good old Alfredo Morelos, who runs away down, has a chance to take a shot, but it's a bit of a lame effort. Takes a wee slight deflection to pass it in, but Alfie of old would have done better. Alfie should be doing better for that. He then got into the second half. Before we discuss that one, speak about the other two as well. He had a decent half chance at the back post from a corner, which difficult chance. Gets the shot away, but hits into the defender. Again, I think a fitter Alfie probably does a wee bit better with that. But the big one comes in the 65th minute when Yilmaz did some good work out in the left with Kent, whips in a really, really nice ball in across the face of the goal. It's a tap in for Alfie, and Alfie completely misses it. He doesn't even attempt to hit the ball, I don't think. But this was really frustrating, Ali.
No, tell me about it. I mean, the one in the first half, Scotia, when Scott Wright kind of plays him through it, we're both looking at each other going, he's not going to outrun that centre half. No chance. He done well, actually, to sort of keep going with the ball and dead on his feet. Again, he's miles off at Morelos at the moment. We'll probably come on to him, but that one you're talking about in the second half, honestly, Ryan, sitter. And I text you, I think, when it happened, absolute sitter. Any one of us would have put the ball in the back of the net, including Scotia. But it was, it sums Morelos up at the moment. I was speaking to Stu at my work today about it. I'm like, I don't think a guy wants to be here anymore. Obviously, I don't know because I don't know him, but he just, his body language, everything about him. Big Cholak's now the main man scoring goals. You hear at Ibrox when we bring Morelos on, there's not that big fanfare with him anymore when he comes on. I think his time's up with Rangers. His fitness levels, as a lot of the other Rangers players, I think is shocking. I've said it before. You said it as well, Ryan. He's let us down too many times for me. See if somebody comes in January with a cheeky wee bid, and I'm talking a couple of million, because he's not worth anything at the moment. I'd honestly move him on in January because he's not used to us. But then folk might turn around and say, well, we'll come on to who's injured again, so we might need to keep him.
Ryan, what are your thoughts on Alfie? I think, see, for me, the thing with Alfie and not being up at match sharpness, some of that does lie with him, but I think a bit of it has to lie with how Gio's using the subs in certain games. That he doesn't need to just play Alfie for 20 minutes in replacement of Cholak. There's some games recently, people have been winning like 4-0. The game against Dundee, for example, where he could be brought on to play a decent period of time alongside Cholak. I think, for me, at times, Gio's not bleeding him into the squad often enough to get him up to sharpness, because if he was up to sharpness, I don't know if you've seen this chance, but it was the boy that was playing for Shakhtar Donetsk against Celtic the night before that missed that absolute sitter. Alfie's one wasn't far off as bad as that. I mean, that one was far worse, but it wasn't far off. It wasn't far off that.
I have seen that. I did see that on Twitter, the Shakhtar Donetsk one. In terms of Alfie, I think it's twofold. I think that Alfie's attitude, again, we have to wait until Alfie's ready to play football at the beginning of the season. We have to wait until he's fit, until we missed him missed him at the Old Firm game, we missed him in the Champions League qualifiers because of him. Now Alfie's not fit, and whether or not Van Bronckhorst is bringing him on when he should be or not, whether Van Bronckhorst is still maybe got an issue with Alfredo Morelos' attitude or not, I don't know. But I am very much over Alfredo Morelos. I know that's not going to go down well because I know he's a cult figure with a lot of the fans, but when we've got a guy like Čolak, who is a great striker, looks really keen when he plays with us, you can tell the fans are starting to warm to him, like, because he's banging the goals and he's always going up to the fans and celebrating with them. He's got an affiliation with the fans now, and I agree with Ali. Like, you hear the roar. I can't remember what game it was, and he come off. He'd scored 2, I think, and he come off for Morelos, and the roar was loud, much louder for Čolak than Morelos for the first time ever. And let's not forget, Alfredo Morelos has not put pen to paper, because I agree with Ali again. He doesn't want to be here. I'm sorry, and I know there's Morelos fans out there, but he doesn't want to be here. He's wanted to leave for a while. And I think if Rangers could have got a suitor for him when he was back late from Colombia, whatever he was up to, I think he would have been gone. And I think, what kind of clubs are going to come in for him in January? He's going to get to speak to people in January, and that's, I believe, him and Kent, that's their target. They'll run their contract down and they'll look to speak to people in January the 1st. What kind of clubs are looking at Alfredo Morelos? Because I can't imagine him going to any Champions League side now. He's a bit of a spent force for me now, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, what age is Alfie? He's only, 26, 27? He's coming in. He's coming into kind of what you would consider the peak of his career, but he's not really playing like that right now. And it's like you say, if he wants to get a move somewhere else, then he really needs to pull the finger out, which should only benefit us if he does so. So that was Alfie. Yilmaz, again, let's speak about Yilmaz. He impressed me during that game, Ali. I think there was a couple of wee spells in the first half where he looked a wee bit slightly dodgy defensively, but he recovered fairly well from it. But overall, I thought he was impressive. Probably our best player in the night.
Yeah, he was definitely the best player. I mean, modern day fullbacks now are all a bit dodgy defensively, aren't they? Because offensively is their weapon, all these modern day fullbacks. So I was speaking to Ryan before we come on here. He looks busy all the time. He looks like he can link up. He can do a 1-2. He can come inside. He offers something different for us on that left-hand side. I mean, Ryan said it before we come on. Play Barris, it's just show him inside, because you know what he wants to go the other side of Kent and whip balls in. So it's predictable. Yilmaz isn't. I think he can mix it up a wee bit for us. And let's be honest, we've paid 4 million, whatever it is, 5 million for this boy. We need to get him in the team. We need to play him. I was impressed by him. Yeah, defensively, he was shaky at points, but I mean, we are playing Napoli, so in our domestic league, he should be fine. I know there's a few hammer throwers that might try and have a go at him, but I thought he was physically, I thought he dealt well during the week. But offensively, I thought he offered a lot. He was unlucky not getting an assist from the Alfie miss. He should have had an assist, but yeah, he was a bright spark for us on Wednesday night there.
Yeah, I thought so as well, Ryan. I know he's your man. You've been calling him for in the team for a while now, but I think he was probably unlucky not to play against Livingston because he picked up that knock, because I think he would have been a shoe-in starter. But I think maybe now you're seeing that he's had the chance, had a few months to settle. Obviously, he couldn't speak any English, as far as I'm aware. Young boy, first time away from Turkey. But it looks like he's kind of getting up to speed now. And during that game, you could see, there was at one point where he passed it. I think he was trying to play a 1-2 with someone. Maybe it was at Lundstrom or Sands. And they went back the way rather than playing him forward. And he screamed at them, which was good to see. But What are your thoughts on Yilmaz going forward? See more of him?
Yeah, definitely, because he offers something that Barisic doesn't. And again, I just want to reiterate that I'm not having a go at Borna Barisic because I know I have a go at him a lot, but he has played well this season. But I do look at Barisic as a one-trick pony. I think he's got a very good left-footed cross on him. But we hardly put any people in the box. I mean, 9 times out of 10, he's crossing the ball to Cholak and Tavernier at the back post, who doesn't score many headers with my memory. So, yeah, I think Yilmaz just offers that something different. He's positive on the ball. He looks to bring the midfield, as I said to Ali before we started recording, he looks to bring the midfield and strikers into play. Comes inside. I think he can only get better. I think it's time to give him a run. Whether or not he's not been playing because of Barisic's form or because Gio's wanted to just kind of let him settle, as you say, he is a young lad. But you just play him. I don't have any concerns with him. I've seen a few people say he's not a great defender. I don't think Barisic's a great defender. I can't remember the last time I had a left back where I thought he was a great defender. I don't think you need to be a great defender in Scotland when you're playing with old firm. If you can do the basics right. In terms of his height, a few people, it might just because I'm in the Govan front, but a few people will speak about his height because he's small. I don't see that as an issue either. Like, as long as he's marked his man to the back post and we've got him playing football well on the deck, yeah, he definitely should be getting a run of games now because he's the future left back for Rangers. He is the one you're going to be playing because of the money we spent on him, and I don't see Barisic as the long-term left back. So, yes, play him.
Yeah, we'll round up the Napoli game then in the 80th minute. Surprise, surprise. Napoli get a corner. Ostegrad with a free header. He loses Lundstrom. Knocks it away. Really good header, to be fair, but shouldn't be getting free to make it 3-0. And that's Rangers now hoping and praying for a 5-0 win against Ajax next Tuesday to keep our champion or European teams alive in terms of dropping into the Europa League. But 3-0, I think, probably a fair result on reflection, Ali. But performance wasn't slightly better by Rangers, but still leaves an awful lot to be desired, I think.
Yeah, it was 3-0 was probably fair. I mean, we have to give away one of the goals for a corner kick, don't we? Because we just can't defend corner kicks. So, I mean, I thought they put effort in, Rangers, but we're just miles off it at the moment. It's been a disastrous European campaign in this Champions League group stage, Scotia. Let's not get away from it. If this is a positive reason we need to come up with in terms of we get beat 3-0 and we're trying to bring positives out of it, it's been a disaster. The board need to take responsibility for not, well, we all know the glaring areas of the park where we need to invest in, and they didn't do it. And we've been shown up against, let's say, the big boys. So it's been a disaster. We're on course to be the worst ever Champions League team in a group stage, which I do not want, but we're on course to do it. So Tuesday night, they've got pride to play for, Rangers. I know a lot of folk are having a laugh and a joke saying if we win 5-0, we go into the Europa League, but come on, no chance. They're playing for pride on Tuesday night. I think there'll be a lot of empty seats at Ibrox. A lot of people have paid a lot of money, including us 3 lads, even boys that maybe bought single seats to go there on Tuesday night. So they need to put a performance in for the fans that are going to be going there, and a bit of pride for themselves in the group stages. So for me, it's been a complete disaster, this Champions League group stage. But hopefully the board, whether they will learn from this experience moving forward.
I mean, Ryan, we've been waiting 10, 11 years to get back into the Champions League. Was it everything you dreamed about?
Wish it never happened. It's so frustrating, Scotia, and I know I'll speak for everyone here when I say it's been so disappointing. It's been embarrassing. I've been ashamed walking away from Ibrox, which I thought those days were by in Europe where you're embarrassed to be. You're embarrassed to be a Rangers fan because you look at TalkSport and Sky Sports and they're totally sniggering. You always wanted an English team. Like last season, I certainly did. I wanted West Ham or Man U or Arsenal or something in the Europa League, and I'm glad we never got them, because although it might have been a different story last year, I don't know, but I just feel that Liverpool game I'll never forget that. I'll never forget walking away from Ibrox that night and thinking, I've just watched an opposition score 6 goals in 35 minutes. I'll never forget it, and no matter what the teams Gio says or anyone, nobody will give me an excuse for that, because they downed tools that night. And Ajax game as well was an absolute Halloween horror show. It was horrific to watch, and the Arfield goal was just a few minutes of respite, great atmosphere, great goal, great play from Rangers. Apart from that, I have hated every single minute of the Champions League so far, unfortunately.
It's not been great, but you know what? We really want it next season as well. And then the season after that, I was speaking to Ali about this in the pub, that's when it goes to this mad, all 32 teams are in one big league table. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there. Although by that point, if we keep on playing like we're playing in Europe, we'll probably get an automatic Champions League spot through our coefficient points and things.
Scotia. Did you? Ryan sent a link. Ryan sent a link into the group chat after the game on Wednesday night. James Sands was interviewed, and he said, I couldn't believe he said it. It's a team full of winners. I was thought, where's he getting that from? Unless you bring Alan McGregor and maybe Steve Davis into it, but Steve Davis didn't play it. But I thought that was an immature statement.
I wasn't going to show my dad that, because I can imagine what my dad's reaction would be to that, and he's probably sitting through that living room watching this podcast now, and I'll need to listen to that for the next hour. He'll be like, I just know he'll be like, who said that's a team of winners? Who's that? Who's a dressing room of winners? But yeah, I totally agree with you. I thought that was a wild. You're just opening up for the madness there. It's just a silly thing for him to say, and I know he's trying to be positive, but you are way off there, Mr. Sands.
I mean, no, you need to win more than just a title and a cup in a couple of years to be considered a winner at Rangers. For me, really, it might be okay if you're talking about another team, but not for Rangers. You need to be winning more than 2 trophies and over a course of a couple of 3 seasons or so. Anyway, before we get into the Aberdeen game, just quickly wanted to mention that earlier this week, Rangers had announced that they'd commissioned a statue of Walter Smith, which will be placed in the locale of the Copeland Road end of the stadium. I think it's the right thing to do, Ali. And to be honest, it's something that it's not been in my mind so much at the moment, because obviously probably how Rangers are playing is probably taking up most of my thoughts on all things Rangers, but right thing to do.
Aye, definitely. Sir Walter, he was always going to have a statue. Do you know where they're putting it, Scotia? Did you?
He said it's in down at the Copeland end road of the stadium.
Copeland end, okay. No, he had to get a statue. I mean, to me, he's Mr. Rangers. He's through all our guys' childhood. He brought his 9 in a row. He's brought in the Battle of Britain against Leeds. I know we were very young at that point, but way back then, he's brought in fantastic players, Laudrup, Gascoignes. That was a fantastic time to be a Rangers fan back then. And then he came back, obviously, after the Le Guen experiment, went tits up and saved us again, and went on and won 3 league titles he didn't have much to play with, to be honest, in terms of a budget back then, Smith. But absolute legend of a guy, and a guy that symbolises what Rangers is all about. Walter Smith, he's you think of Rangers and you think of dignity and class and everything. It's Walter Smith. He represents Rangers the way we should be represented by a manager.
Yeah, no.
Jim, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Honestly,
yeah, thank you very much there, Jim. Cheers for that, much appreciated. Before we go into the Aberdeen game, then Ryan, just your thoughts on that. I think for me the statue is probably a very apt thing. And before we go there,
Scotia, sorry, I need to Justin, you're all the way from Texas. God bless America.
Thank you very much, Christian.
All the time he comes in. When you flying us over to Texas, Justin, that's what I want to know. So we'll come for a pint with you.
Yeah, I'll get a flight about 4:45 tomorrow. Would be great.
You allowed into America, Scotia?
Aye, don't see why not.
Names on the list.
Aye, so Ryan, your thoughts on the the statue for Walter.
Yeah, thanks very much, Jim and Justin as well. That's amazing, absolutely amazing. Thank you. The Walter Smith statue, yeah, I think it's a fitting tribute. I've seen people having a go saying, "Oh, it's about time. Why did this not get done sooner?" I think the club have probably just put plans in place, but they've left it a bit because we always forget that Walter Smith or anyone who dies is a human. They're a husband. And I just think Rangers would maybe have stole the limelight if they'd done it too soon. Like, look at our statue. We love Walter Smith. I think they've done the right thing in leaving it a year to actually to put it in place. Lorraine, amazing.
Set them all
Thank
off
you
now,
so much,
Ryan,
guys.
haven't we?
I know. Setting me off. I've got tears in my eyes here. I'm getting emotional. It's really fitting, and I think that as I said, I think Rangers are the board have gone about it the right way, just leaving it a bit of time for a bit of time to say, I couldn't believe it was a year, Scotia, when I saw it on Twitter. I could not believe that's a year since he's gone. And I say sometimes my mum and dad, like when I see if Walter Smith comes on the telly or I see like a video of him on my phone, I'm like, I still can't believe he's gone, because he's like a figure that's been through, as Ali said, our childhood, and even when we were adults following Rangers, he was a manager, and it's still strange to think he's gone because he's such a iconic figure of our club. And yes, that it fills my heart with pride thinking that John Gregg will be at one end of the main stand and Walter Smith will be at the other, and I hope the statue does him just, because he deserves it. He deserves more than that. He is Mr. Rangers, as Ali says.
Yeah, no, so it will be interesting to see that when it does get erected, because that whole area then is going to be, obviously you'll have Edmiston House, you'll have the Champions Wall they call it. I don't know if that's been built yet or not, or if it's, because I've never up that.
I think it has, mate. Yeah, I think it's behind the fan zone. Aye.
Yeah, I'm never really up that end too often, but no, it'll be quite a lot. Lots of bits and pieces in around there. Yeah. So anyway, on to the Aberdeen game, which is the main focus for tomorrow, and much needed 3 points, and probably a much needed performance as well. So I know we talked a wee bit there about in the presser earlier about the fitness levels, but I suppose the main thing that always comes from press conferences is the squad update. And Rangers couldn't script it. Gets asked about the squad news. He says, Gio comes out, no, everyone's fine. Oh, and Kemar Roof picked up a knock. He'll be out for a few weeks. Oh, Ryan, what's going on?
Do you know, it's time to give up. It's time to give up with Roof. Jack's the same for me. It's time to give up with Jack. We can't plan with these two guys because, listen, it's easy just to be nasty and say, like, oh, get rid of Roof, blah, blah, blah. The guy will be gutted because I think he genuinely loves playing with Rangers. I think anytime he is fit, he's an asset for Rangers. But let's be honest as well, the reason why Kemar Roof is playing in Scotland is because of his fitness, because of these injury concerns. He'll have had umpteen scans at the clubs he's been at, and they'll all highlight the same issues that he has constantly. He's on a treatment table constantly, and I think it's time we just get him off the wage bill. How we can do that, I don't know what his contract's like, but thank you so much.
Keep talking. Every time you talk, Ryan.
Shala, okay. Thank you so much. Amazing.
Ian Morgan, that's outstanding, by the way, honestly.
It is amazing. Absolutely outstanding, guys. I'm distracted, sorry. Who are we talking about? Kemar Roof. Yeah, I like Kemar Roof. I think he's a great player, but I think everybody just reacted the same way when they heard that about Roof today, and you just burst out laughing. You're like, this is beyond a joke now. Rangers now need to take the kind of business decision and think, what are we getting back for a guy who's probably on a decent salary? And it's very, very little. It's very little. And I do feel sorry for him, but Rangers come first, and we need to start putting some sort of package in place and pay this guy off, because we need him off our wage bill. And I don't think he's the only one, unfortunately. I think there is another one or two people who are consistently getting injuries, and we just can't plan. We can't plan with these guys in our squad.
No, I mean, not at all. Ali, I hadn't watched the press conference yet today, and then I'd seen the message come through from you in the group chat that Roof's injured. And I really, really hoped that you were taking the piss, to be honest, but you were not. it's getting so frustrating with Roof, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we took a punt in Kemar Roof when we signed him. We knew what we were getting ourselves involved with. The guy's unfortunately made of glass and he breaks down. I said it last season when Morelos got injured when we were on the European run and we had Kemar Roof left. I went, no chance he's seen us to the end of the season. And he didn't. He broke down. And again, he's came back and played something like 15 minutes of football, I think I've seen. He looked all right when he came on. But again, he's injured. He was asked about the injury. It's a similar injury. It's a calf injury or something. But he's saying he's out for a couple of weeks. A couple of weeks for Kemar Roof could be a couple of months. But he could come back and break down again, Kemar Roof. I don't know when his contract is up, Scotia. I don't know if you know if his contract's up at the end of this season or the end of next season. But if it is up the end of this season, we need to cut ties with Kemar Roof because I like Kemar Roof as a football player when he's fit. I think he offers something for us, but we can't have guys that break down on us continuously because we can't build a team. And you throw Ryan, as Ryan says, you throw Ryan Jack into that equation as well. We can't have these guys playing for us. It's a sad thing because I do like him as a guy and obviously as a football player, but his body's just it's not made for playing football, unfortunately. And we can't be paying big bucks for a guy like that that's going to be sitting on our treatment table more than half the season. So was a shock to hear it? No. We all have a laugh and a joke, but at the end of the day, it's not a laugh and a joke because it comes back and hurts us as a football club. So yeah, when the time, if we can, well, there we go. I think Jade's just put in the group chat there his deal ends in 2024. So I would look to cut ties with him if we could.
Do you know, Ali, sorry to jump in there, Scotia. Do you know how long we've been waiting to Kemar Roof being fit? I was at the Leipzig game, obviously the home game, where the players come in. I was just so happened walking past at that point and Roof was coming in. And everybody's like round about him. They're like, "Are you playing tonight?" Because obviously we were struggling for a striker. And he said, "Are you playing tonight?" He's like, "I'm not fit." He said, "I'll be fit. If we make the final, I'll be fit. But it's just too early for me tonight." That's what he said to one of the guys that asked him. And that's how long we've been waiting to Kemar Roof being fit. That's 5 months. Not great, is it?
No, it's not at all. I mean, Gio comes out and says a couple of weeks. So a couple of weeks takes you to when we break up for the World Cup. So he at least does have until we come back from the World Cup to get back up to fitness. But it'll be the same story. He'll get there and then he'll break down once he's played a wee bit of 15 minutes or so. He'll come on when we play Aberdeen actually after the World Cup. And he'll break down after that and he'll be out again, no doubts. But hopefully not, because I do like Kemar Roof. He comes across really well. He looks like he wants to be here, but he's just one of these players. I mean, we've had too many of them. That is one of these players that his body just fails him and he can't play at this kind of level. And like you say, Ryan, if he could have played consistently without injuries, he'd be nowhere near Rangers, because he's far too good for that. So on to Aberdeen. There's some other things in the press conference, but I am conscious that we're nearing the hour mark, so there's nothing hugely major to take out of the rest of the press conference. But on to Aberdeen anyway. They are sitting third in the table, winning 6 games, drawing 1 and losing 4. They've scored 22 and they've conceded 16, and they're sitting in 19 points in third place. I've seen a wee bit of Jim Goodwin is the manager, isn't he? Jim Goodwin. I've seen a wee bit of his press conference, and I think he's feeling pretty confident. Well, Jim, thank you very much. That one's for Scott.
That's a touch.
Jim.
That's
thank
a
you
touch,
very much.
Jim.
Very well done, Jim. Thank you very much. We'll make sure that Scott's aware of that. Sorry, where was I? Jim Goodwin. His press conference, he was seeming pretty sure of himself and was looking forward to facing Rangers, given where we're at the minute, really, which you can't blame him. But, Ryan, what are your thoughts on the game against Aberdeen? And give us your teams and score as well.
Well, firstly, it'll suit Jim Goodwin that his team are playing on Sunday, and obviously he's managing Aberdeen on the Saturday, so that'll be right up his street.
I like that.
Do you know, I was actually pleased to hear how confident he is, because it's very rare you hear a manager coming to Ibrox and they're really, really confident, and sometimes that can come back and bite you in the backside. Sometimes that can be the old pinned up in the dressing room, although I don't see that in this dressing room, because obviously it's a dressing room of winners. But I just think that could maybe fuel a wee fire in this Rangers team if they think Aberdeen really fancy their chances to come here and beat you today. So what are you going to do about it? So I'm hoping it kind of gives them, spurs the Rangers players on a wee bit. Whether it does or not, I'm not sure. But Aberdeen will fancy it. Whatever Jim Goodwin said, they will fancy it because they always come to Ibrox and give us a game. But because of the way we are playing as well, it's going to be a tough match. Obviously, they're missing Serie A goal scoring sensation Lewis Ferguson because they sold him in the summer. But they've still got a decent team. They'll still be able to battle us out. And like we said last week against Livingston, Rangers need to be up for it. Rangers need to be on it tomorrow, because if they're not, they won't only ship 2 points, they could ship 3 points, because Aberdeen are definitely capable of coming to Ibrox and winning tomorrow, and the Rangers players need to know that. They cannot take it lightly tomorrow.
Indeed. Do you want to give us your teams and score as well while you're at it?
I shall indeed. I'll be quick with it. I've got it on my phone here. McGregor, Tav, Davies. King's fit, isn't he?
Yeah.
He said, yeah.
I think he just had a bit of cramp. Yeah, was it?
Yilmaz. The two, I'm playing Lundstrom and Davis. And then right on the left, Tillman, Sakala, and Cholak. And I am going 2-1 Rangers, fashion Sakala to score first.
The Waka Waka.
Waka Waka. Content next tomorrow night, Ali.
Yeah, Ali, what are your thoughts on your team and scores as well?
It's must win tomorrow, Scotia. A draw's no use. It is must win. The sheep will smell blood. Fair play, Jim Goodwin, coming out and saying he fancies coming to Ibrox and getting points, because it's actually good to see a manager coming in and being confident. Will they come and have a go at us tomorrow? I think they will. I don't think Aberdeen are the Aberdeen where we used to play, where they would just park a bus and play for set pieces and something like Livingston. But yeah, I think they'll come and play. I thought he's bought well in the summer. He's got a couple of strikers. They've hit a bit of form, Aberdeen. They will smell blood against us tomorrow, because we're a team with little confidence at the moment. So yeah, they'll fancy themselves, Aberdeen, but we need to be up for it for first minute as soon as we kick off, right in their faces, and we need to dictate the play. So I think it'll be tough tomorrow. I really do. I'd love to sit here and give you a really positive scoreline for tomorrow, but I'll be realistic. I'll give you what I actually think is going to happen. I think we'll need to sit in. I think we'll need to be patient as Rangers fans. And I know as Rangers fans we aren't patient, but tomorrow I can see it being that way. I can see it being a grind tomorrow. I really can. I hope I'm completely wrong. I hope Rangers come out. I hope they use the motivation of Jim Goodwin and them coming out thinking they're going to take points off us. But as Ryan says, I don't know what would motivate this Rangers team. I don't think that would, to be honest. So I hope they prove me wrong, Scotia. I hope they come out. I hope they give me a performance and send us all home happy. But my team for tomorrow is Shagger in goal, a back line of Tav, King, Davies, Ryan's Turkish Delight, and Yilmaz will play. Has to play. My midfield's going to be Lundstrom, Arfield, Tillman just in front, and I'm going with a front three of Ryan Kent, Cholak, and I'm going with a man for Zambia as well, Fashion Sakala. And my scoreline's the exact same as Ryan. I said to it off camera. I'm going 2-1 Rangers. First goal scorer will be Big Cholak.
Right. Yeah, Aberdeen. It's Aberdeen. They're always tough games. I think the last two games we played against them. Well, obviously we've not played them this season because the game was rearranged due to the Queen's death. But we've not played them yet. But last season, what was it? 1-1 and 2 each. Did we draw with them as well? Last couple of games, I think. So you know what it's like against Aberdeen. It's been like this type of fixture for a while. Hoping we can go. I did notice when we were speaking about this, guys, that there's an awful lot of spare seats kicking about right now at Ibrox. If you go onto the ticketing website, there's an awful lot of red areas throughout pretty much every area of the stadium, which is probably a combination of the way Rangers are playing and obviously with the trains being on strike tomorrow, I think there's only 2 or 3 lines that are actually running till about 5:30, so it's no use for actually getting home from the football. But yeah, tough game, but like you say there, Ali, it's a must win. I mean, Gio needs to win every single game from now until the Old Firm game, domestically, at least. Yeah, so for me, I'm going for McGregor, Tav, King, Davies, and Yilmaz, same as you guys. I'm keeping Lundstrom and Sands in midfield. I did think maybe Kamara bringing him in, because I suspect he might need to now play on Tuesday. So if he's fit enough, it might be a chance for him to maybe get some minutes in him. And then I'm going with Tillman. He'll probably Tillman, Arfield, Kent, and Cholak. Although I wouldn't play that team. I would have.
He's going to play Arfield out in that wide right again.
I've just got a feeling he might. Yeah.
Oh, Scotia, God.
But I wouldn't be the team I would play, but that's what I'm going for.
I thought you'd give us a bit of positivity, Scotia. Or 3-2, God. Oh, God.
That's
That'd be a self-in.
Going to be I think I'm going 3-2. I think it's going to be one of these games. And who am I going as first goal scorer? Let's give Kent the first goal. I've got him in my team. So, yeah, Kent, and then 3-2. Yeah.
Sorry?
So,
Ryan Kent?
First goal scorer.
Oh, wow. That is out there. I would put that on a book because you'll get good odds on that.
So may as well try something different, because we're not allowed to pick Jolak anymore, though. Carney told us we weren't allowed to pick Jolak as first goal scorer. So that's why. Yeah, anyway, that'll do us. That's us got just over the hour mark now. So firstly, I'd like to thank my guest. Firstly, Ali Pearson, thank you for coming on.
No problem. Difficult podcast to do, obviously, in the circumstances with Carney not being here, but there was a couple of bloopers in there for everyone, especially at the start when I said Heart and Hand, about the Heart and Hand community. I think that was because I was listening to Heart and Hand in my car on the way home from work. So a couple of bloopers in to raise the kind of spirits and get a wee laugh there. But no, I hope we've done Carney proud. And like I say, we'll try and continue to bring you the podcast moving forward until Carney can come back. So yeah, I'll be back next Friday anyway, to give you some more entertainment along with Scotia, and hopefully Ryan too. So no, superb, Scotia. Well done hosting tonight. Well done, Ryan, as well, coming on too. I know you've had a tough week moving too. So on to Saturday, 3:00, as it should be, at Ibrox, and hopefully Rangers can put a smile on her face.
Aye, and then also thank you, Ryan, for coming on. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. Well hosted. Yeah, it'll be difficult. We'll pull together and we'll keep this going as much as we can. For Carney, he's got his priorities in check at the moment. He's got a lot on his plate. So again, condolences go out to him, and we'll try and keep this content coming. It won't be as good a standard when he's on, because he is the man that does all the work in the background for us. So yeah, we'll do our best to bring as much content as we can for everyone. And thank you, ScotRail, for ruining my Saturday tomorrow. I had plans of coming up and getting you guys for a pint tomorrow, just to take the edge off of having to go into Ibrox. But maybe Rangers will lift the spirits and put a performance in for us, guys. That would be good, wouldn't it?
I do have a couch, Ryan, in case you change your mind.
Well, do you know what? See, if my dad could drive, I would take you up on that, mate. I would. Although I might abandon the car if things go wrong.
Cheers, Ryan. Yeah, thank you to all the listeners. Thank you, everyone, for their donations. Like the guys, again, quite a difficult podcast to do, given sort of the devastating news that Carney got given during the week. Like we'd mentioned at the start, like Scott had mentioned in his video, we will be kind of down to pretty much one a week in terms of podcasts going forward for the foreseeable future, until Scott feels that he's ready enough to come back on. And just given where we all sit and things, it's not where we all live as well. We can't really get together all the time for post-match games, and given that we're playing the Tuesday, we wouldn't be doing a club deck corner anyway. But yeah, I would just like to thank everyone. If you could like, subscribe, and share the videos on the YouTube channel, Facebook, and Twitter, and the likes. Yeah, and that'll do us for tonight. And hopefully, when we do come back to you next Friday, then we'll be discussing 2 Rangers wins, a 3-2 win and a 5-0 win against Ajax as well. Cheers, everybody.